No excuse for not having a Bob gag again.
What? Again?
Shut up. Anyway, I at least have another short story to tell. The other day, I got an email inviting me to another raffle at some store for a new video card. As you know, I've been searching for this white whale. So I went and I thought to myself, well, there's a little Japanese bakery nearby. If I don't win, I'll head over there and I'll have myself like a little rice thing, onigiri thing. There's a smaller crowd than last time, but the twist was that while you had to show up in person to enter the drawing, you didn't have to be on site in order to win. You just had to get there within half an hour if you happen to win and claim your right to buy. So after a few delays and awkwardness from folks at the store, here it is. It's all wrapped up and special, you know, so the wrapper doesn't get soggy. And that's the story. I'm really happy. The world is a vampire. Hey, it's Soul, and welcome back to Warcraft Weekly, the show that you're watching because, son of a bitch, character not found again. You might as well give it a few minutes. Real quick though, a huge thanks to our Brutosaur party over on Twitch, and a big hello to the lovely patrons who continue to support us, and newcomers. Oh hell no. I guess I'll give that a few minutes too. This week is pretty heavy, with some big developments like the patch, and a new beta. And there's a lot of little ones. Actually, there's a lot of little things that keep dripping in, like undocumented patch changes, one hot fix after another, and it's really easy to get lost. So we're going to try a lightning round, a whole lightning round through the weekly, do all the highlights, because do you really want me to bloviate on why the weapons from the Legion Order Hall have raised their level requirement? Consistency is the answer, by the way. It would be silly to have high-level weapons at level 10 in one expansion and not having them anywhere else. Pfft, come on. Anyway, let's get it on. Relic of the Past items have been nerfed to pretty much oblivion. In pre-release builds, they could jack up gear to Ny'alotha killing levels or level 100, but then they were borked down to item level 87. Not so much Ny'alotha killing levels, but still reasonably strong. And then the Luminous Flux reagent was added, devaluing the vendor sell price of these items, but now with a nerf all the way down to item level 54. Which makes me ask, like, what's the point? Aha, you know what? I know. It's because all profession items were also nerfed, so... Okay, consistency. Yeah, this really isn't how I preferred it, though. You know what? Tinfoil hat here, but I think that this is a precursor to eventually bring in player housing and giving professions tons of stuff to make, because at least in their current state, gear professions they're anything but a path to cool things to wear, at least outside of legendaries. The newcomer chat is now a thing for veteran players who can be mentors, and for people on starter accounts who could need a helping hand, like for cheap Ny'alotha runs, a fast and seamless experience. Sign up now, only 3 spots remaining. A handful of raids in WoW allowed you to change the difficulty while inside the instance, notably Icecrown Citadel. What many players do is clear their way to a certain boss like the Lich King on one character, and then use that lockout on their other characters to teleport to the Lich King, then kill him, and then repeat the process until they run out of characters, basically. It's kind of a bummer, so I guess I'm gonna see way fewer invincible drops on my Twitter feed. The Trade Skill Master website, which keeps track of black market auction house items, has found the Brutosaur mount with an initial listing of, surprise, surprise, 5 million gold. Just kidding. I'm disappointed, but I'm not surprised. Like, imagine the Saltstorm if the mount started at half that price. Not to say that it wouldn't eventually be bid up to the gold cap anyway, but you know people would see it like a slap in the face, knowing that they poured their efforts into getting that mount just weeks before they would leave vendors, only to find it on the black market for cheaper, like, ugh. Wowhead reported that the Looterang, which is an engineering toy that lets you loot corpses from a distance, now requires a Cataclysm engineering level of 70, which is 5 points from the maximum level, and before it only required a level of 1. So, good. So long, pretenders, but I guess that's the Realm First engineer in me talking. Twice in a row, I should add. Coming from me, I'm all for alt friendliness, but we've got to draw a line somewhere. Wowhead did share a point that to craft this, you need an engineering skill of 40, but you need to be like 70 to use it. So again, let's have some consistency here. I honestly expect them to hotfix this. In a statement, Blizzard addressed that Shadowlands does not run on very old hardware, and is working towards a solution which could take a couple of weeks to roll out. Critics were quick to call out that WoW is like so cheap to run, so just go upgrade poor people in the most smart-ass way that they can think of. My response to that? Why the f do you care? Forsaken hunters don't need to wait for Shadowlands to start taming undead pets, they can start doing that right now. As a reminder, here is the short list of tomes you can find or buy that lets you expand on your hunter's ability to tame stuff. Conjured mana buns have been changed into conjured mana pudding. Centuries later, historians would cite this as the spark that ticked off the nuclear war that obliterated the western half of North America.
Watch your clever mouth, bitch!
Yeah, you're not going to hear that in game anymore. The 2-hour waiting period before selling an item that needed verification to begin with is now 2 hours of real time as opposed to game time. I mean, yeah, there were some cumbersome ways to get around that, but for folks like me who would buy out an entire vendor with marks of honor, we would have to wait for 2 whole in-game hours to sell it back for gold so we could keep the transmog, so whew. Unsurprisingly, we still don't know when the expansion is going to launch. For a hot second, a Shadowlands dungeon event appeared for December 15th, which hinted at a possible December 1st release, since the dungeon event is meant to award raid-level gear. Unfortunately, game director Ian Hazzikostas shot that down, citing it as old data that would have referred to the original launch date of October 27th, so too bad, so sad. Armchair designers have crawled out the woodwork to comment on how Chromie Time works with regards to dungeon queues. It feels simple. While in Chromie Time, you queue up for dungeons in the expansion that you're in. But as a twist, if you don't happen to find a group within a few minutes, you're not out of luck, the queue will diversify and throw you into whatever dungeon group. Expansion be damned. And that's it. But some critics don't find this to be elegant, and have suggested that you should be able to choose whether you want your random dungeon choices to be restricted or not. Or in other words, screw the players who are in it for the immersion, it's all about efficiency. Inexpensive efficiency. I, like many others, have enjoyed the simplicity and style of Exile's Reach. Seeing more diverse characters and cinematics and your own purple night elf hobos and cutscenes is a real treat. I, like many others, have done it for the transmog, but unfortunately not all of it made it in-game. Notably, these sexy shields. It's such a tease, isn't it? Seeing this shield in-game ready to go, but no source, Blizzard, you monsters. Speaking of cinematics, we've got one this week to mark the beginning of the patch. It's a safe prediction that this is also the first cinematic that we see when the actual pre-expansion event begins. It's a likely pattern being repeated from patch 8.3. As hilarious as I found it for Anduin to just get took, and the best that Greymane can do is say, no, it's gonna be a little bit sad if the other faction leaders just get taken or not taken off screen. We got a last minute beta build this week, so let's go over some of the highlights. PvP scaling has been a problem in the world of Warcraft, elevated thanks to YouTuber Rextroy and Wowhead. It's thanks in part to that scaling is now gone in the pre-expansion patch. But what about the beta? Given its volatile nature, you would think that similar tests would have been just as visible, but not so much. As of at least a few weeks ago, scaling was very much a thing, but in the past 2 beta builds, not so much. Here's a quick test of a level 50 character chucking hammers at a level 60 character, and voila! The damage taken does reflect the loss of health in part of the level 60 character. PvP scaling via character level seems to be gone. But what about gear? Let's do a similar test, a naked level 60 character versus one with their clothes on. Same values, so we can at least make the claim that extreme outliers like this are not detectable. But is PvP scaling truly gone? I would love to say yes, but we're gonna have to continue observing. Conduit energy is now testable on the beta and is shown here on screen. Every time you place a conduit, you spend 1 energy, and to be fair, it's not like we're gonna have dozens of conduits and slots to play with in the first week or so of Shadowlands, but boy, it sure punishes haphazard mistakes. Moving a conduit that you already placed counts as removing and then placing the conduit again, so that uses a point. Also confirmed, the energy is shared across your soulbinds. On paper, this doesn't sound so great, but in practice, your mileage will vary. I think it remains to be seen. Now, I already know how I'm going to plan my soulbinds. One's for tanking, the other is for tanking a bit more violently, and the other is usable regardless of my spec, aka alt stuff, PvP, and so on. And then I'm going to leave conduit swapping alone until the next season if there are like more soulbind rows and more conduits and levels and other such things. I know that my situation is pretty fortunate, but you guys probably don't feel the same, so please feel free, share your rage in a comment below. The mall has been given a pass as announced by Blizzard. More context has been added in the form of daily quest markers, but nothing's changed with regards to what to be in the maw for, namely the vendor that sells stuff. Now don't get me wrong, I don't want the maw to feel like a super required thing either, but I would like my visits to the universe's most dangerous place to feel a bit more engaging. So we'll see how things look in future builds. Many players are fans of the Venthyr Covenant for their signature ability Door of Shadows, as it lets them teleport to places that you normally couldn't reach, even with jumps and dashes. But now that gap has been narrowed, as classes with these abilities have had their pathing restrictions relaxed. Heroic Leap is really a leap again, and Warlock portals are probably going to be enthusiastically abused until Blizzard nerfs it again, so I can't wait. Users in the beta have noticed a debuff and warning while being logged on for extended periods of time. The debuff applies to underage users in China to discourage them from long-time play. Despite Wowhead clarifying this information, it didn't stop the fearmongers from speaking out for underage children, I guess. Not to make a joke out of child exploitation, but the right to binge on an MMO, this is where you draw the line? Okay. I think what scared these people though was that this was translated into English, to which I should remind everyone just in case that you can choose your language settings when downloading the WoW client, even if you're playing from a different country. Cultural diversity, it's crazy, right? By the way, as a guy from California, Cali boy, hang 10, right? Excuse me while I have some avocado toast with my balut and dinaguang, eh? But to end this on a generally positive note, experience and leveling finally got another pass in Shadowlands, and overall, the experience required to level from 50 to 60 has gone down by about 30%. But what does this mean? For your first time leveling, it ain't gonna mean squat. In a previous playthrough, I didn't complete any side quests or bonus objectives or dungeons, I didn't play in war mode, and I got to like level 57.5 before completing the leveling campaign and most anything else. That means under the same conditions, I'm more than capable of reaching level 60 if this change goes live. Because regardless of my level, I still need to complete the campaign, so personally I don't think that this is going to change the feel of anything whatsoever. Where this really shines is for our alts. I ran through the Threads of Fate experience and it was still a ways away from 60 after completing everything on the map. This change ensures that our alts will have choices while leveling instead of being forced to do everything anyway, and our only feeling of choice would be the order in which we would do it. The only wrong thing Blizzard could do here really would be to leave us hanging after completing everything we could, and that seems to have been resolved. And that's the show. So how has your patch experience been so far? Haha. The start of it has been nothing less than an expected cluster, with the usual problems that come with a pre-expansion, with a level and stat squish, no big deal at all. I'd love to hear your thoughts, but for me it's been split into two uneven halves. There's getting the feel of the new class changes, and after all my testing, it's just second nature and, I feel fine. The other half, it's been like playing a brand new game all over again. I said this numerous times and now I'm actually doing it. I'm leveling an Alliance warrior through Battle for Azeroth content, and to be perfectly honest, it's been a blast. Come on, kill him guys. Get him. Get him today. Oh god, Jesus. Ugh. Oh, I died anyway! What the f? This is the sort of reward that I get for not churning through every class, both factions, rushing through this and that and go, right? As a content creator and a frequenter of WoW news, I'm accustomed to seeing most people around me talk about speed leveling and efficiency, but at least for this moment, without having to worry about progression, the personal pressure of wanting to stay on top of things. I find it super relaxing to run this without heirlooms or boosts. I have no intention of flying, and I have a goal to go through this whole thing, from the zone campaigns to the side quests to the war campaign, you know, all that stuff. I mean, we have time. So as I'm playing, like, I'm struggling, I'm dying even, I'm getting lost, which makes it a very, very welcome change over the expectation of victory and the toxicity over trying to maintain that. So if you're down to join me for the antics or to just drop a line, say hi and check me out over on the Twitch channel. The schedule's going to be somewhere over there. And if I'm not so engrossed in the story, I might also break away and do a special little project live on Twitch where I just sit down and set up LVY, an add-on suite that I've stayed away from because I think it does too much. But I think it's time to really put that claim to the test and see if it's really all that it's cracked up to be, or if my style of a la carte add-ons is the way to go. So be sure to subscribe to the channel for more of this and all things Warcraft. Like the video if it was enjoyable, and consider maybe signing up as a patron to keep the lights on and the coffee potent. We'll see you next week, folks. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.